Welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 21 review, Game Week 22 preview. This is going to be a quick one, just a few hours left before selection. Starting with the table. So moves again by Mubin, trying to catch up. He's about 60 some odd points away, so it's getting close. Behind him, Zakia having a great week on the back of Ahmad's performance, so also 14 points difference. But look at what's happening just underneath that. Big changes happening there. Big changes because of Ahmad as well. Azra scoring 82 points this week, by far the best performer, and now just a point behind the champion, who's just a point behind his own cousin there. So Fatima Bibi's there, it's very, very tight in third, fourth, and fifth. The chasing back is coming. Then a bit of a break as the rest of the table comes up underneath. Now, looking at our player selections, still these main three across everyone there: Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, and Alexander Isak. But the differentiator is where it comes in. Ollie Watkins, just one person having him scoring those 9 points this week. Diallo coming in with a late 20 points, giving 4 managers the chance to score big, but not all of them played him. Chris Wood as well coming in with a contribution, as did Anthony Gordon, who's becoming very consistent as Newcastle are moving forward. Now, looking at the hits and misses here, a couple of them, Fatih and MSK picking up 20 plus points from the defenders. Quite a good performance there. One midfield maestro, very smart move by captaining Cole Palmer and having Ahmad on the team there. 50 plus points for Azra from midfield, and then a few super strikers helped by Alexander Isak there, myself, Mob, Sachs, Azra, and Hussein. 2 misses there, 20 plus points sitting on the bench for Mohammed Sadiq and Hussein. Now, looking at the best possible selection we could have got out of this team: Henderson at the back doing really well now at Crystal Palace. Estupinan finally coming good for Brighton. Dinya Robinson taking up the back line. Then you've got Kluivert, you've got Gordon making the team there. Palmer is with 10 points this week, and then Ahmad coming in with that late performance, getting the captain's armband as well, and pushing Mo Salah, who blanked this week, out of selection. Then up front, Isak, Watkins and Wood. Strikers are definitely making a comeback. Not a particularly fancy bench there. Martinez getting in there with 6. Nunes, Hall as well making the back line. And Ilanga unfortunately getting pushed out, sitting with 7 on the bench. This team would have got you 130 points without the bench, 155 with the bench boost, and again an affordable 90.4. So the points are definitely coming from players who haven't been ranked so highly at the beginning of the season, guys. Things to look at. Now, looking at the fixture rating, very, very difficult. If you look at it, there's a lot of oranges and yellows in here. So as the season is heating up, got to be very careful about the selection, and also make some transfers on the short term rather than the longer term. Right now, though, you're looking at Chelsea, Crystal Palace, City, and Forest to have some winnable games coming up. And then Liverpool themselves, some tough games coming up, but then they've got Ipswich, Wolves in there. They're on great form, so Brentford, Bournemouth might not be so much of a challenge. Newcastle are flying, but as you can see, there are some very tough fixtures coming up ahead of them. So just be mindful of those players. Spurs is crazy. They're not having great results. They're down at the bottom of the table, or the bottom half of the table, but they are scoring goals. So if you're looking for players from an attacking point of view, definitely got to look at them. They have some games where they can score, playing against teams that are conceding, so just keep an eye on that one. And then Brighton are once again coming back into the space where they can score and win games. A lot of tough games also ahead for Arsenal, Manchester United, especially given their form. Bournemouth, Everton, Ipswich and Wolves. Wolves have an insanely tough schedule ahead. Again, doesn't stop them from scoring, but you've got to wonder about their defensive choices. Now, looking at transfer news, since we are in the transfer window so far, no big outgoings, but for Spurs, they've brought in a backup keeper in Kinski, and we've got then Agbadou coming in for Wolves, and then Daniel Marlin coming in for Aston Villa. So we've got a couple of moves on the inbound, and then one internal transfer, which is actually quite interesting. Jaden Philogene going from Aston Villa to Ipswich. Guys, with Omari Hutchinson having earlier moved from Chelsea, Jaden Philogene is quite good English international and a player to watch. Probably coming in now at a very low rate, and if Ipswich have a few good games, might be well worth it to look at him and see the impact that he can have not only on Ipswich but also on your team here in FPL. Looking at the selections for the week coming up ahead, so Nick Pope is still highly doubtful, but I don't think Newcastle will be complaining. Dubravka had a screamer of a game. Vicario still out, Hermansen as well, and now Areola is out from West Ham as well. Not a big selection this year because West Ham have been in some terrible trouble. But looking at the weeks ahead, based on the fixtures, we're going to look at Robert Sanchez from Chelsea, Henderson for Crystal Palace, who's been superb, and Sells for Nottingham Forest. Sherry is still out for Newcastle, doubtful it might make an appearance, but he's on his way back. Stones and Ruben Diaz still out from Manchester City. Now, looking at the defenders that we would select, Lewis Hall has been doing really well for Newcastle, as is Munoz for Crystal Palace. Then you've got Gabriel, Alexander-Arnold, and Pedro Porro. Guys, we're not choosing these guys for defensive abilities, but rather because they have the ability to score and assist. So looking at them from an attacking perspective, if you have them, I would hold them. Then looking at Robinson from Fulham, same story, 2 assists last week. And then you've got Estupinan, same story, and then Guardiola from Manchester City. For me, this would be the last week that I would recommend him, and then he's got a tough run, so I would look at putting my money elsewhere. In the midfield, Bob and Rodri still out for Manchester City, Saka still out for Arsenal, what a shame. Dwight McNeil out for Everton, Jared Bowen out for West Ham, Harvey Barnes now joining the list out for Newcastle, Palmer's picked up a knock, so he's doubtful, as is Enzo for Chelsea. This might make a difference in your captaincy choice because he might have some limited minutes, especially if Chelsea go ahead against Wolves. They might rest him. And then Brennan Johnson for Spurs picking up also a knock along the way. But looking at the selections, Palmer will always be there because of his great performances. Enzo as well recently been doing well. Salah from Liverpool, Ismail Sarr for Crystal Palace based on a good run that he's been having. Anthony Gordon, so consistent for Newcastle, will definitely include him there, and Joe Linton, who's had the ability to break out. Then Harry Wilson, Alex Iwobi, who did fantastically for Fulham as well. Ahmad from Manchester United, he seems to be the on-form guy, even though the fixtures are in his favour. He's really cheap, even if you keep him on your bench. Savio and De Bruyne from Manchester City, who had fantastic link-up last week and possibly could do it again this week. From Notts Forest, quite a few here because they are doing so well. Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White and Elanga. And then, of course, Heung-min Son from Spurs, who is the one player who seems to be trying to make things happen at Spurs. Now, in the forward line, Callum Wilson is still out. Isak's got a small knock that he's still carrying. João Pedro is back, but he's doubtful. He did play last week as well. Same for Cunha, and Gabby Jesus has picked up a big knock for Arsenal just when he was coming back to form, so he's out. Our selection for this week means that Haaland, with his current form and the favorable fixture this week, is up front. Isak still recommended. Chances are he might play, but again go off if the scoreboard is in Newcastle's favour. Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea, he has been blanking week after week, not really picking up the points, but he is a good priced striker, guys, if you still want to keep him on, and Chelsea do have favourable fixtures. Cody Gakpo for Liverpool, again he's being treated almost as the premier forward currently alongside Mo Salah, so well worth it to look at that. Chris Wood has been having a phenomenal season for Notts Forest, and a good game this week as well. And then the Brighton pairing as Brighton start coming back from this long line of draws. Danny Welbeck and João Pedro are where we want to look. So that's what we have for this week, guys. Good luck. It's only a few hours left, just over 4 hours to make your selections. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment on here, and then let's catch up at the end of this week. So long for now.